Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod here to talk about Deal or No Deal Island, Season 2, Episode 11, titled Water Under the Bridge. Last week on Dondi, after David won the daily Money Bonfire Challenge, players headed to a double elimination at the temple where David eliminated Philip and Cliffhanger left us biting our nails. Before I dive in, I put a link in the description to my playlist where you can catch up on my previous Dondi recaps. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. My videos aren't meant to replace the original content, so if you missed the episode, I highly encourage you to check it out on Peacock. But let's get into it. We pick back up where we left off at the final four, where David is deciding who will face the banker. He chooses his ally Parvati, who is wearing what she calls her winning outfit. She gets started picking number 5 because it rhymes with staying alive. Solid reasoning. And in the first round, knocks off values from all over the board, including the highest value case. She's offered $150,000 and a 50-50 chance of going home. A no fun, no good offer that she says no deal to. She has a great second round with 3 of her 4 picks being low value cases. The banker has it out for Parvati. Throughout this saying she was looking forward to facing Parvati and telling her she wants to crush the Black Widow with her stiletto heel. She's offered $925,000 and a 75% chance of going home. Everyone agrees this is a terrible offer and Parvati declines. In the third round, she eliminates the 2 highest value cases on the board, leaving $100, a million, and an offer from the banker of $500,000 and $1 in honor of Luke. When she hears for Luke, she wants to take the deal, potentially because the last time the banker said for Luke, it was in an offer to David that he took and ended up being a good deal. Personally, if I were in Parvati's shoes, I would take this as the producers signaling me to take it, but Parvati's case contained $1 million, meaning she made a bad deal. She handles her elimination well and tells us she'll be back for blood. So we lose our queen Parvati here. What an extreme pity and bummer. She was the whole reason I covered this show, and it was such a pleasure to watch her here. She joins up with David to build the family alliance early on, putting them into a small but loyal group that really served her, as the family members threw her bones left and right. Combined with her actually being great at the challenges on this show, she was safe for the first 9 episodes. That could have been way worse and more stressful for us at home. Her biggest scuff up was with Philip, accusing her of using his past trauma against him, but she came out of that pretty unscathed. Firstly, it didn't seem like she was doing that, but also, let's be real, Parvati is never losing my stand card, no matter what she does, and I mean that from my heart. She wasn't even playing dirty like that. I do think she wanted to win this, but I got the vibe that she wanted to show the greatest hits of herself and not do anything to make herself look bad, so she was genuinely so upset and apologetic when Philip came to her with that. The biggest story was her relationship with David. This might be a hot take, but of all the seasons she's done, David is probably the best ally she's ever had. He was unwaveringly loyal, but also actively helped her throughout, at times putting her game above his to help her get safety. They also had this unique soul connection and were attached at the hip. I'm glad they never turned on each other, and they'll go on to film a season of Australian Survivor versus the world, giving them a strong alliance that none of the other players know about that could be a bit of an unstoppable force. I can't wait to watch and will be seated. Following Parvati's elimination, it's down to David, Letty, and CK. David is upset he's there without his family alliance. Letty says she's gonna Wonder Woman her way through this, and CK is hoping for a puzzle so she doesn't get her ass kicked by the other 2. David is forlorn and sadly packs Parvati's things, telling us that Letty and CK are nothing more than footnotes in his Wikipedia. As they head to their challenge, they share their motivations, with CK wanting to have a baby with her wife, Letty wants to give herself a better future, and David wants to give to his kids. At the daily challenge, Joe is wearing a blue leafy number with buttons that seem slightly off to one side like a suit jacket. Players will need to make their way across 3 platforms over the water, where they'll be faced with 2 players who have been eliminated at each platform. At each platform, there will be 3 unmarked cases that they need to pick from, and a task they need to complete to get to the next platform. On each platform, one of the eliminated players knows the truth of the values in each case. They can either be honest or deceive the player into picking the case that they want. The other player can either choose to help them build the bridge to the next platform, or not help or sabotage. So in a way, this challenge acts like a jury. The player with the slowest time overall will be eliminated right away, and the player with the highest overall total between their 3 cases will be the winner of the show and get to face the banker at the final temple. They get started with Letty first. On the first platform, she's met with Philip and Parvati. Letty and Philip are besties, so he tells her which case to pick, and when Parvati asks Letty to give her a plea, Letty tells Parvati she looks up to her and wants to be the next Black Widow, which works on Parvati, and she helps Letty to build the bridge to the next platform. On the second platform, Lachelle is trying to win an Academy Award, telling Letty she definitely doesn't want one of these cases. Letty picks one of the other 2 cases, and Dr. Will is there. He helps her to throw a rope ball into place to unlock the bridge. At the third platform, Letty faces her island boyfriend who she betrayed, Dixon, who tells her the cases and cryptically winks at her. Seychelle loves Letty and helps her with her bridge. The producers clearly wouldn't give the rest of the cast that they didn't ask to be there a sip of water if they were driving a fire truck in the desert. The players are reshuffled for CK. First, she faces Dixon on the cases and her nemesis Seychelle, who called CK a cheat with a flat ass on the way out. Dixon does the same thing he did with Letty, but Seychelle says she respects CK but needs her to grovel. CK gets on her knees, calling Seychelle her queen, kissing her feet, point, this seems to work on Seychelle, who starts helping CK out, but Seychelle isn't really helping. She's giving CK bad answers and is laughing, saying she threw out her back and can't help anymore. On the next platform, Philip is on the cases. He tells Parvati in advance that he's going to be honest with CK because she always makes bad decisions. He is honest with her and she doesn't trust him and takes a different case than he recommends. Parvati helps CK do her ball toss. On the next platform, Lachelle is playing mind games again and is no help to CK, who ends up picking a random case. Is Lachelle the banker? Will still doesn't like CK and declines to help her in the final task of filling a container with water with a giant spoon. CK is struggling with it and Will does end up helping her out eventually. Up last is David, who first faces masterminds Lachelle and Dr. Will. Lachelle is back on her bullshit with the mind games, so David takes a random case from her. Will asks David what show he was on, and David admits he's the king of Australian Survivor. Will respects this and helps David to build his bridge in a hurry, but Dixon overhears this and now knows that David lied to him. To be a pain, Will throws David's last piece out into the ocean, a little annoying inconvenience that David easily overcomes. On the next platform, David fesses up to Dixon about his legendary status. Dixon again calls David his dad and seems to be honest with David about the cases. Seychelle offers to help David with his case, her back seeming fine now. David crushes his ball throw. He generously lets Seychelle make a throw and she just sucks at it, so he takes over and nails it, moving on to the next round. On the final platform, David gives Philip and Parvati a big hug to a stone face reaction from Philip. David sent Philip home, but feels like Philip is being honest with him about the cases, so he takes Philip's recommendation. David and Parvati have a sweet face-to-face where they tearily thank each other, and they work together to do the water spoons. David zooms to the finish and ends this challenge that was long as hell. In the results, the times are revealed. Letty had 9 minutes 25 seconds, David had 7:29, and CK finished in 13 minutes and 27 seconds, so CK will be eliminated from the game. So we lose CK here, who coming into the show was probably the most fit for a social strategy game. With her poker experience, she won 2 World Series of Poker championships, which is an insane accomplishment. She got herself into a weird place in the game, being not really in either alliance and ambitiously taking on Dr. Will as an adversary, which is part of Seychelle saying that she was a cheat with a flat ass, but Will was never able to get CK. Being a free agent meant she could play the middle, giving her room to talk to both sides and play her way to the end. She did end up going to Temple twice, being the only player to beat the banker twice this season. Her poker skills seem to help her to achieve that because you're really playing a mind game against the banker. In my opinion, the show really set her up to go home here, putting both Will and Seychelle in the points in this challenge where they could actively slow her down and doom her to fail. Of all the players, I think she still has the most potential. She'd be such an interesting person to pull over onto the traders because she'd probably be such a good trader or trader hunter. I love her voice and her story and do hope to see her again. Following CK's departure, we're down to the final 2. David and Letty open their cases with the highest combined total being the winner of the show. Letty chose Philip's high case, Trickster Lachelle's middle value case, and Dixon's high value case totaling $5.5 million. David had Lachelle's high value case, Dixon's high value case, and it all comes down to what case Philip gave David, and we end on a cliffhanger. For once, I'm glad they ended on a cliffhanger. Had they revealed the winner of the show in this moment, I think I would have zero interest in what happens in the next episode. With Philip's case, Philip really doesn't like CK and was honest with her about the high value case, so he was probably honest with David too. So for that reason, I do think that David is going to be the winner. I wouldn't be mad if Letty won, but from a story perspective, a David win would feel more satisfying. But that's all I have to say about this episode. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the episode, Parvati and CK's departures, and who do you think is our winner, David or Letty? I'll be back next Tuesday with the finale of Deal or No Deal Island. I'm also recapping Survivor and the Challenge All-Stars right now. If you like these videos, consider liking and subscribing. You know where to find me. Bye.